Hello. Welcome to Fall Crop Series. Super excited. For this first class, it might take us a little longer. We're going to cut all of our papers first. So you might want a pencil, excuse me, a pencil, maybe some sticky notes, some little sticky notes if you don't want to write directly on your papers. That's what I'm going to do though, because I'll just erase it later. Of course, we're going to use both sides, so we're going to cut all our papers first tonight, and then we'll do layout one. So it might be a little longer tonight than the rest of them. I hope you guys can join me live sometime, and if not, don't forget to post your version on my Facebook page when you're finished under mine, and then you'll go into the drawing for the product certificate. Okay, let's get started. I love this paper, by the way. I love this whole collection. I don't know why my voice is gone already. I haven't even talked today, hardly. Had a great time at our retreat, so I'm recovering from that. I'm trying to finish my book work and unpack and all that stuff. So this is the first sheet we're going to cut, and I call this the leaves paper. Isn't it so beautiful? And we are going to make our first cut at the 8. Or if you don't want to get your little arm out, we're probably going to need it anyways, though, so I would just get it out. And don't forget about the little foot under the ruler here so that you have one solid surface. I'm hoping I can get this so you can see good. I don't feel like this is directional paper, so I'm just going to cut it at the 8 and not worry about that. This piece we'll just set aside for right now, and we're going to rotate this piece and cut it at the 6. Okay, so these are 2 8x6s, and we are going to label them A and B. And that's so we can find them easier later. So A and B, 8x6 out of the leaves. And then this little 4-inch piece here, we're going to cut it at the 6. So this is a 4x6, and this is C. And then these guys, we're going to cut 6 inch and 3/4 squares. So 1 3/4 is the very last line on the right side of your mat. If you can read Creative Memories, it's that very last line. So I'm going to cut 2 of those. It wasn't very straight, but it's okay. This piece is trash. You know what? Let's save all the scraps in case we come up with a page to do at the very end with all our scraps. That might be fun. Then I'm going to stack these 2 pieces. And like I said, we need 6 1 3/4 squares. Alternatively, we could have punched with the square punch. But I'm not sure it would have worked out perfect or not because of the, punching, you lose some paper. These 2 little pieces are scrap, and these are all labeled D. So I'm just going to write D on one of them. And I'm going to try and save these in a special spot. Actually, I'm just going to put all of my pieces. Well, at the end of class, I'll put it all back in my Ziploc, I guess. Okay, next is the wood grain paper. And again, I feel like it could be directional either way, so I'm not going to worry about it. But we do have to punch first. So I am using woven scallop. You can use whatever you want. The point of it is you don't want a chain, I don't think. I think you would want something that just changes the shape of the paper. So the way I know that this doesn't make a chain is it's solid silver here to the base. Or you can look at the bottom and there's no See how there's space here? There's no space down here. So this is just gonna change the shape of my paper. Nothing's gonna fall off except for the punch poop. So that's the one I'm gonna use. And it's the only one I'm gonna use throughout this class, unless we decide to decorate more later. We need to punch 2 of these. I'm gonna put one side in here. I'm gonna punch all the way down one side. Whoops. And then I'm just gonna flip it over and punch the other side to save a little bit of time. Okay. Set that aside for the moment. We will use it again. Then we need to cut these off. I'm gonna get rid of my scraps here. So 1 7/8 is what we want. And that is gonna be not the very last line before the 2. Let me see if I can show you. Not that line, but that line. That's 7/8. I hope that's clear. And I'm sure it's not a deal breaker if you don't get exactly 1 7/8. And then we're gonna flip it over and cut this side off, 1 7/8. And these are E and F. E and F. Okay, then we're gonna cut a 4-inch piece off. And rotate it 90 degrees and cut it at the 4. So a 4x4. This is piece I. Like I said, you could just do sticky notes. And then the rest of this we need to cut into 2-inch pieces. So they end up being 2x8s, and we have 2 of them. 2-inch by 8-inch. And those are G and H. G and H, 2x8. Then we'll take our last chunk of 4 inches here, rotate it 90 degrees and cut it at the 6. And then we need those, this is J. And now we're gonna need those squares again. So I'm gonna line it up at 1 3/4, cut 2 of those. Save the scrap. And then stack them and cut it 1 3/4. So we have 6 of them. We'll save that little pieces, those scraps. These are number K, letter K. Okay, the next piece we're gonna cut is this green. It reminds me of a sweater. Looks like a sweater to me. And we're gonna cut at the 4 twice. Then we're going to rotate 1 and cut it at the 6. And these pieces are L and M, 4x6s. And we're going to cut another 6 inches off of this one. And that is piece N, as in Nancy. And then we need 2 2.5-inch pieces. So these are 4 by 2.5. And those are O and P. 4 by 2.5. This is scrap. And then this piece, we need to cut it at the 8. This is scrap. Your 4 by 4 piece is scrap. The 8 by 4 is Q. Next, we have this yellow. It also reminds me of a sweater. And we need 2 1-inch pieces. When I'm cutting less than 1.5 inches, I like to measure on the right side of my gray mat. That way I have more paper to hold on to. And I also feel like I need to switch my mat. So these 1 by 12s are R and S. And then you have an 8-inch chunk left. Oh, no, you don't. So we cut R and S. We need an 8 by 4. So I'm going to rotate it. No, I'm not going to do that either. 8, 9, 10. We're going to cut 2 inches off, and then that piece will be scrap. This 2-inch piece is scrap. Now you have an 8-inch chunk, or you should. And we're going to rotate it and cut it at the 4. That is piece T, and it should be an 8 by 4. And then we need to remember which way the paper was. That's the 8. Oh, it's 8 by 8, so it really doesn't matter. Okay, we need another 4 by 4, and we need some 1 3/4 squares. So I'm trying to figure out how to save the most paper is what I'm delaying on. If we add these up, 1 3/4 plus 1 3/4 is 2, 3.5, or 2.5. No, 3.5, 4.5, 5 1/4. So, oh gosh, I'm gonna quit thinking so hard. Let's cut 1 3/4 twice. I was trying to save us on paper, but that's too much math. Stack those 2 pieces, and we need 6 1 3/4 squares. There's 2, there's 4, and there's 6. See that I was trying to keep it so that this would be one bigger chunk, and all these squares are piece U. And then with the remainder of this, we just need a 4 by 4. So I'm going to cut it at 4. Save this scrap. Rotate it and cut it 4. And save this scrap. We're getting some good chunks for a 6th page. All right. Next is the plaid paper. Again, I don't think it's directional either way, so I'm not going to worry about it, but we do need 6 1 by 12s. So I'm lining it up with the 1 on the right side of my mat, so I have more paper to hold on to, and we're going to cut 6 times. Five, 6. All right, I just realized I don't think I gave you the last letter. This 4 by 4 is letter V, as in Victor. And then all these guys are W, X, Y, Z, and then AA and BB. All right, then we need some 1/2-inch strips. Need 8 of those, 8 1/2-inch strips. The 1/2 inch is where the IN is on the right side of your mat. And how many did I say? I think I said 8. Yes, 8 of those. 1, 2, 3, oops, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Oh. And this nice big piece is scrap. And these are letters CC through, oh, one more cut. Take 4 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to cut 1.5 inches off. So I'm just stacking them. And I'm going to cut 1.5 inches off of them. And those are scrap. So the first 4 are C, C, D, D, E, E, and F, F. And the last 4 are G, G, H, H, I, and J, J. Okay. And I think what we'll do after we're done cutting is we'll make piles for each 2-page spread. That way they're where they're supposed to be. Okay, the pumpkins or the gourds. These are directional if you ask me. So let me make sure which way we want those. Just double checking here. We want them, so cut it with the pumpkins facing your right side. So cut it so that you can't, let's see, how do I explain this? Cut it, don't cut it right side up, turn it. And we need 2 4-inch pieces. And those are KK and LL. KK, LL, those are 4x12s. And then you need 2 1-inch pieces, which are MM and NN, as in Nancy. And this is scrap. MM, NN. Next is another one of the green sweater. And we need an 8-inch piece. And then we're going to turn it 90 degrees and cut it at the 6. So we have 2 8x6s, and those are OO and PP. And then we need some 1 3/4 squares again. I got something under my mat, I think. Keeps popping out of there. Okay, so let's just cut 1 3/4 inch strip. This is scrap. And then we need 6 squares. 1 3/4 again. That's scrap. And these are all QQ. I'm glad they didn't label these all with their own letter. Who would have ran out of letters? Okay, next is the trees, and I think this is gorgeous as well. And let's make sure, this is kind of directional if you ask me. Let's make sure real quick which way we want to cut it. I'm looking for it. Hmm. There it is. Okay. So we want to cut this one. So first we want to put it in the same way we did the pumpkins, the wrong way, and we want to cut two 1-inch pieces off. And those are TT and UU. And then we're going to rotate this 90 degrees and cut it at the 5. So you have a 5 by 10 and a 7 by 10. And those are RR. The 5 by 10 is RR, and the 7 by 10 is SS. Two more pieces. We have another piece of the wood, and we want to punch this first. Same border maker cartridge. And we're going to cut it at 1 7/8 again. So you need two of these. Oh, shoot. Well, that's okay. You wanted them to be different than the other one, and that's fine, because we'll just flip it over and use the reverse side. I'm gonna flip it over and punch the other side of the paper again. Okay, so 1 7/8. It's two little hash marks to the left of the two. To the right of the two, sorry. Okay, those are VV and WW. And then we need a 4 1/4 inch chunk. 4 1/4 by 12. This nice big piece is scrap. This piece is XX. And last but not least, we have the gourds again. And let me just find those pieces. And see if it's directional. And I would say not. But we do have to punch it first. So let's punch it correctly. With the gourds facing the right or the left, whichever, not up or down. And we need two of these. And we're going to cut them at 1 7/8 again. Whoops, I got off a little there. It's okay. I'm gonna put this away for now. We should be done with it. That's one of my favorite punches, and it is an advisor exclusive. So if you want one, let me know and I will get you one. And then I'll get rid of the garbage. And we'll cut these an 1 7/8 again. Whoa, had a crash. We're good though. Straighten this back out. Sorry, guys. Okay. 1 7/8. 2 hash marks to the right of the 2. And these are pieces YY and ZZ. Okay, and then lastly, we need to cut this at the 6. And this is scrap. We're going to rotate it and cut it at the 8. So you have a 6x8 and a 6x4. And this is AAA and triple B. And that's it. Those are all our pieces for all 5 layouts. 6 if you count the scraps. All right, let's see if we can. Actually, we're just going to lay this out. So I'm going to build this on tangerine. You should have 2 sheets of that if you bought your kit from me. I also pulled out a couple of the mats, these red mats, this journal box, and then I love fall most of all. And then I love these trees with the truck. So I pulled these out of my borders. Unfortunately, these are sold out. So if you missed them, I'm sorry. Okay, we need pieces A, which is the first piece we cut, if you remember, and B. Okay, we also need Q and T, and those are going to be, Q and T is the green tonal and the yellow, the green sweater and the yellow. So Q, gotta dig kind of far because it was one of the first ones we cut. Here's Q, green sweater, and there's the yellow sweater. And then we need G and H, which is the wood grain, the first cuts we did, the wood grain, and they are this size. So we have A and B are 8x6 in the leaves. Q and T, Q is 4x8 in the green sweater, and T is a 4x8 in the yellow sweater. And then G and H are 2x8s out of the wood. That's what we're gonna start with. And I think that's all the paper we're gonna use for this. For this one. Oh, let me get my tape out. Okay. So the leaves are gonna go like this. Like this. Okay. And it's just the whole thing is centered on your tangerine. So I'm going to line Let's see how much room we got. You should be able to start at the 2-inch. 2 inches down. And 2 inches up with the wood grain. If you're a measurer, I'm typically not, but. If you haven't guessed already, this is actually a layout kit from something else. So I'm hoping it all comes out pretty and turns out good. Erase your pencil marks if you have them. I love our 13 by 13 mat for lining things up so I can still see around my paper. We're going to go 2 inches down again. And sometimes your cardstock has an acceptable allowance, is what it's called. So see how I have a orange gap there? I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but there's a little bit of orange here, and I'll just trim that off when we're done. It's unimportant. Doesn't bother me. I'll just trim it off. I would rather it be consistent on the page and have a little, then have a little gap. We have a little gap there too, and I'll just trim that off. All right, pencil marks. And then let's put these guys on. Where'd the other one go? Oh, they're attached. I'm just going to put them down here, I think. Or should I put them all the way at the bottom? I think I was going to mat this. But maybe I shouldn't. This definitely needs to go. This definitely needs matted because I can't see it, it blends in. Okay, and then we'll get some photo placemats out, photo placement thingies. And then we'll do a little few stickers. Once you get the papers cut, those are definitely the hardest part. So, and I think I am going to go to the bottom. More room for pictures. If you didn't get the mats, it's okay. This is a 4.5 by 6.5. And then this is a 4 by 6 journal box. I love the mats because it saves me on my paper. I don't have to use as much of my paper. And it matches and it's just pretty. And they have these fun journaling boxes and these fun title blocks. I just like the mats. Highly recommend them. It definitely expands your collection because you're not using your pretty paper for photo mats or journaling and or you're not using cardstock. And these are already cut and ready to go, so you're saving a little bit of time as well. It's so cute. Okay, that guy's on, put this guy on. And then we'll do the photo placement thingies. Photo placement things. So we need 4 3.5-inch squares. And those go here. And you could do a, you could do a color in these. color cardstock if you want. Or you can do, if you have pictures ready, just do pictures. And then we need, I think I'm just gonna do one of these guys. There'll be a picture here, but it's obvious what size that is. And then there's a picture there. Journal box. Look good? I think I actually would want that. I think it looks great. So I just use a little bit of repositionable on these. That way I can pull them up later and use them again on another layout. I'm sad it covered up most of that leaf paper. These are still available on the website. They're pretty handy if you build pages in advance like I do. Then you're not measuring. When you go to put photos on, you don't have to measure your mats. You already know what goes where. Okay, let's do some stickers. And we might put some vellum circles on here too. I feel like I'm missing some stickers. Oh, I am, because we're going to use them elsewhere. Okay. So we got a leaf theme going here. We have some of this sweater. I love fall most of all. I have the hardest time sometimes making a decision. I think that tree's too big. How about these pumpkins? Little foam square on here. Do some more pumpkins over on this side. Maybe a leaf popped up. I know some of you guys don't like putting embellishments on until you have your pictures. So feel free to skip this part, of course. I think some more leaves would be nice over here. And then I was thinking we should do beautiful views right there. I mean, your pictures are going to do most of the talking. And this beautiful border. So I'm thinking I might be done. But like I said, we might go back through them later and add more stuff. Should we do a little bit of vellum? I might skip that. I think this looks really good. I like it. I wonder what a little bit of vellum up here would look like though. Let's just do it. I'm going to tear it. And see what it looks like. It's cute. It's pretty. And then I'm going to crinkle it. Give it some more texture. You might crinkle it a few times in a few different directions. And I'm going to cut a little piece of this off. It's a little bigger than the other side. You'll notice when you cut the vellum, it's definitely different. Crinkle this one. I love crinkling the vellum because all that white shows through and it's so cool looking. Definitely looks like fall. You might want to use vellum tape runner for this. I don't have any laying here, so I'm just going to go for it. But it does, you can't see it. You may not be able to see this either, but you never know. Just depends on what's behind it, really. But that's also a little stickier, I think, that vellum tape runner. I kind of rub it with my hands, burnish it. That looks cute. That's a good little addition up there. Vellum paper sometimes is a mystery to me. But then if you just think of it as a layer of paper, it's just more paper. Looks cute. What I should do also is put a little photo mat around this guy. I like it. And I might do that later. For now, I'm happy with how that turned out. All right, I'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to post your version on my Facebook page. I'm going to go post this right now.